not pay anything as I did not talk to any of the players from Raven.
Okay, well, we talked about how if we're going to see this map, it was probably going to be today. We've already had some crazy drafts coming from this team, starting from Valera and Tyrande. Now, in our fourth map, it's going to be Warhead Junction, and this is one way to throw a curveball into a Miracle that's already a bit distraught for being the first team to lose twice to Raven.
My goodness, I dreamed up having Warhead Junction in HGC Korea, and here we are in real life, game number 4, and Raven is beating up MVP Miracle at the moment. Very likely, Brightwing is a very good option here, which is not really so common in the other maps. Even Chromie can be picked. We might actually see Valera again from Raven. That's another possibility.
Here's the commitment again to Zeratul for Dami. This draft looks identical to the previous set. Now, Raven has so much they could do here in terms of HA2's hero pool. What we've seen already, they look confident. Look at this. Joju on camera here, shaking his head yes. We're going to go into the Tychus Malfurion. This feels familiar. Miracle needs to change something up, or they're going to find themselves facing the same draft again that's worked against them twice. But we've seen crazy things on this map, even in BlizzCon. Like, for example, we saw Junga on Zeratul playing the Hunt, and Reset as well in the Global World Championship using Hunt on this map for a little bit of extra global. Uh-oh. I feel like I've seen this before. Is Miracle going to make it work this time? I'm a bit worried.
It's just going to be a stone, rock versus stone here. They are going all the way in with the same draft. They want to keep their ego, the pride of the team MVP Miracle. They can't just collapse from Raven having that same draft over and over again. But really, both teams, I feel like, more up towards the Raven side. This map especially, they had to shift gear. They can still keep the same draft, but it's not going to work as effectively as on this map, especially when we're talking about Warhead Junction. They need a global.
Yeah,
yes.
the lack of a global is a bit scary. They made it work last time. You know how they did, actually, was from the start, as we see the Karazim ban again, this Deja Vu, was from aggressive invades. They took the boss invade. Oh man, this draft is basically straight identical. They took the boss invade, insanely greedy play. They were getting out-rotated. They were down a level in EXP. They took the boss invade before 10. They make these aggressive plays to avoid that global. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's the exact same. There's the Gul'dan.
What are they?
And Miracle can't pick Artanis anymore. Well, it doesn't fit this draft anymore. They can't do it. So we are going to see Artanis 5th pick. Muradin. And Rhaegar.
And I think Raven maybe just switch gear and upset Miracle and just pick the Haka at the very end. Who knows?
I've never seen Hong Kong look quite like this on camera.
Yeah, he's never this serious. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, where's the Rhaegar?
Okay, it's the same exact draft, and let's see if there's Artanis again. It is Artanis!
All right, Honko's not too happy about it. Look, there is one key variation in this draft this time. It's that Rhaegar's using the reindeer skin. Last time he used the master skin. This time, it's the reindeer skin. That's the only variation. Guys, Raven was 0-15 before today. They've won one map. They won their first map. They won their second map. They are one win away from not only winning their third map of the tournament, but winning a series against MVP Miracle, Gold Club World Championship finalists. We're going to get into this map, our first ever Warhead Junction. In blue, a team of champions. Honkono on Muradin, Dami on Zeratul, Sniper on Falstad, Crazy Moving on Leeming, and Darvish on Rhaegar. 4 of the 5 OGN champions against this team that didn't win a game until today. Who are they, G-Clef?
They are Raven, Jojo on Malfurion, Hamlin on Gul'dan, NMX on Tychus, Diong on ETC, and again, H82 on Artanis. I'm about to lose my voice. This is insane.
Well, I've already lost my voice.
Yeah,
it's
they
over.
do. They do have that global presence after level 10 with ETC. So
I just
But-
cracked the Bacchus, man. I'm ready.
but before 10, they can get out-rotated if Miracle makes that right push, except especially with that false stat. I'm losing my word. My tongues are twisted. And there's a swap onto Crazy Moving instead, but does not connect.
So, you pointed this out in the draft. We had an identical draft, but no globals for Raven. This map is big like Cursed Hollow. It's, oh, we're gonna see a pick here already. Darvish gets caught.
Yeah,
This map is it's long, like it's like a horse's face. You know, it's a bit longer than it is wide. So the lanes are super far apart. So ganka tips, like what we just saw, are going to be really tough to pull off, especially as the longer the game goes on.
And Raven, as they're so close for their first series ever win after taking 2 games off. I think they were on a roll, so they didn't really have to change what they were doing. And MVP Miracle also facing that directly. They didn't want to go around it. They don't want to lose their ego. They're really confident going into this draft. Let's see if it works better on this map. And Kono does get caught for the moment. Power slide connecting with that entangling root, and there goes 2 kills already going for Raven.
H82 and Joju have reinvented this team tonight. Deyoung is in here as well. Like, Deyoung has played some mediocre ETC as well throughout this tournament. I was really critical of his ETC play, and for good reason. He had some poor moshes, some really bad stage dives. Today, looks like a different human entirely. We're seeing the same builds out of everyone, including the Wolf Run, coming out for Darvish here. Gonna get that Warhead, 1 apiece. Strong push here actually in the bot lane right now, and HA2 is holding his own in top. They're gonna just go ahead and channel this Warhead right away. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with the map, this map has spawns of Warheads similar to the altar spawns actually on Towers of Doom and how they operate. So we see a good dodge here by Sniper. What you do is you collect them and then you channel them and you blow stuff up. They're nukes, so it's very difficult to actually interrupt a channel, but it can be done.
And if you hold the nuclear bomb on yourself, when you die, you drop it. The opponent can actually channel and then take it right after. So if you're holding it, you got to be careful, especially on the times you actually want to channel it. And MNX getting very low and does get taken out. Deyoung's also be the next one.
Yep, resets there for Crazy Moving, and better target prioritization by Miracle. It was the targeting of Tychus on a, their prioritization, whereas Raven was actually catching Honkono, who's much tankier and much more difficult to kill. So good focus there, good rotation down by Sniper. It cost them this wave here, which I'm sure the Korean commentators are highlighting. I'm sure they're showing it. So going to lose about 3 minions or so there. Good rotation up from Honkono. They actually don't lose that much EXP from this.
I love the way Hamlin's being super cautious, because he knows that if he steps over that line, not even that line, if he steps over a few more steps, he's going to be a dead man. He's just being super overcautious. That's always a good thing as a Godam player, especially if you're going for that corruption build. He needs those stacks.
Yeah, the longer you're dead, the less stacks you're getting. Of course, both quests for Godam are going to be that way, but this map can go long. This map can be snowball. It doesn't feel like it when you think about the objectives I just described, but with how early someone can get 10 from an early lead on the warheads, you just kind of end up controlling every single warhead, and that's why these globals are so important. Just like Towers of Doom, on this huge map, much bigger than Towers of Doom, in fact, so even more important. And Towers of Doom, you only have 3 altar spawns. Here, you can have 4 nukes, so it gets really crazy. And that's what I'm worried about here for Raven, is the lack of globals.
Yeah, they do have lack of globals, but that's the time that MVP Miracle really needs to stress, and good dodge by NMX right there. Really needs to stress and use that global for their own advantage. They were losing EXP, but with that Falstad and Artanis up on top, they're basically just trading EXP right now. MVP Miracle did catch up the EXP because they have one more going around the map. But right now, they're not using the Falstad to the max.
Yeah. He's been used for 1 gank attempt, but he hasn't been getting too much of an advantage, as Raven's had good rotations to lanes, moving as 4 oftentimes, trying to get picks. Okay, nukes spawn, 4 of them. This is the 4th spawn. So at top, H82 and Sniper both going to get one. NMX here might get caught, actually, as he tried to go down alone. And he's body blocked here by Honkono. Here comes Darvish. This should be a kill with the root, or excuse me, the totem slow. And here comes a big 3-man down, but it's 3v4. Still, with all the cooldowns used for Miracle, they're going to actually back off. And it looks like Raven will actually go 2 for 2 on these warheads.
And with that, Falstad can just soak in the middle lane and also nuke down that first wall on the mid lane. That's a good news. But here comes Raven as they're forcing really hard on this bottom lane. They're just going to use that nuke just to get some HP down on that fort.
Look at the fort health. Sniper's got an extra soak. He's going to come up here and clear this Merc camp, the Bruiser camp, the Raven camp, if you will, actually. This Team Raven uses it. Just barely missed these interrupt on the channel here. Look at the fort health. It's quite significantly in Raven's favor. Yes, they're down in EXP briefly, but they're going to get 10 here. They're winning the structure war. That much is absolutely true. Man, this game is still very close. In terms of builds, I'm just looking at all the heroes because we have all 10 the same. It's exactly the same, even down to the Rhaegar level 4 Chain Lightning. So this is even as it gets. Okay, they're going to even up the fort health here, but do they go too far?
Dami gets rooted again, and Cleanse is already off. Blinks barely off.
Hamlet tries to come in, too.
Wow, Dami. And looks like Zeratul can be a hero that gets like harassed and get out safely with all his skills, but not in this case when you get stunned and rooted. Just you can't blink out from there.
Oh
Stage
my
dive
god, they're going in.
Stage crazy moving. Is that going to be enough? Root is the only one that can follow up. Not much damage. That was very aggressive. Little too early by Dion.
It's going to cost them this fort, actually. They didn't get the bot for it. They can get it shortly after this, but the advantage they had in structures is gone now. Just if only briefly. But the level advantage that Miracle has is going to push them towards a faster 13. This is somewhat worrisome.
Yeah, but still, I like this play by Raven. They commit, and they go all in on the commit. They don't just back out because they missed the target. They go all the way in, and then they try something new like this, going for the boss right now. MP Miracle, they smell this and try to come down, but it'll be maybe too late when they come down. Void Prison is available.
Fool me once, shame on me. Try to fool me twice, and it doesn't work. Shame on you, I guess, is the idea here, as they're going to continue to pull this boss forwards to prevent its leashing. Not going to happen, though.
It's also forcing Falstad to come down. That's also a great idea.
The problem is that Falstad doesn't come down, and he actually got a fort. So they were even in structures until this. And not only is Falstad getting more EXP, but now he's doing more structural damage. He's gotten a fort on his own. And if they had gotten the boss, maybe they threatened the keep wall. So they prioritized the keep wall and that pathway to the core over the top fort. Because they don't get the boss, that's a problem.
Yeah, Falstad does have the global, but Falstad cannot fly all the way down to that boss position. It's quite far, and that range is not that long. So it does force, but good job by Sniper just waiting for that right moment to actually fly in, and does not fly in yet. So, and Raven also really on point with their plays. They want to get this strategy done when they do not have the global. Well, they do have ETC, but not really using it yet.
So there's no punish hero for Falstad in this comp, and in the last game, their punishment was to try to invade a boss. It worked for them. They're going to try it again here, this time down in talent tier. They're going to try to force this fight, but I'm worried about this, you know? Dion gets caught here, has to heal himself. Joju drops the heal as well. They have to let this boss go. The ideas that they used last game on a somewhat smaller map were just not, they worked then, but not working now. Ooh, swap attempt here. I thought he was going to go for crazy moving. Does not, though, and doesn't get the connect.
And Falstad is still pushing the bottom forward, even with the camp before. Now, almost tried to fly it over, but also went down again. So it is a lot of stress for Falstad players to see what kind of timing you actually want to. But with this kind of play, Sniper actually not moving to the top. MVP Miracle's basically soaking so much more, like double the EXP.
Yeah. The only way that you can punish a Falstad with this, I feel, is hide someone behind the fort he's attacking, then have a stage dive come in to catch him, and then punish that way. We have the Purifier Beam here this time, again, to maybe try to kill him as well. It could cause maybe a pick, but otherwise your rotations are just too slow. ETC's global alone can't punish him, and it's on a much longer cooldown than Falstad's flight. So they're just getting out-rotated, and these big aggressive moves to try to take a fight, to try to get a pick, just haven't been successful. Miracle's got their number this time. They're going to swap Honkono in, but he's just going to immediately Avatar here. Gust goes off as well. This starts to look much better for Miracle. Honkono is just doing everything by himself right now. Big silence goes off, and a fear. They're going to kill Crazy Moving. Maybe they can turn this fight around after all. Hamlin and Joju were just too low, though. They're going to go down. Deyoung wasn't here. He stage dived out earlier. NMX is trying to get another pick here on the Dami, but there's an Ancestral. NMX is going to die, and that's 4 for 1. This kind of play this time isn't working out. The Global's putting Miracle too far ahead.
Yeah, it was not totally worth to actually swap onto that Muradin when Muradin could also jump out or jump into the fight. If it was a Regar, it would have been worth, but still. It was a nice try, but didn't work out at the end. Great fight by Odin on behind the wall there. Did a lot of damage, but Miracle had the upper hand even after losing their Li Ming from the beginning of the fight.
Well, everyone's respawned for the quad nuke, but the boss is pushing the lane where the 2 nukes are, so that's going to be an issue in terms of channeling there. Going to spawn in 5 seconds. Knows Dami's position here is going to try to slow down and prevent anyone who's coming towards these nukes from clearing. They're going to take the mid one first. Crazy Moving's already got the channel, so they're going to try to go 3 for 4. Crazy Moving gets mid. With the boss bot, no one contests. And in fact, Dami even goes for the keep nuke. MVP Miracle will get 3 of the 4. And all Raven can do is try to push the top fort. They nuke this, they remove vision. They're not going to try to boss. They have to go down here. This boss is still uncontested. And because the keep wall was nuked, it's actually very low, so the boss goes straight through it. And MVP Miracle is going to show you guys right now why this map can snowball very quickly. All it takes is a small lead and a boss.
They have 3 nukes. They can actually go all the way to the core. Stage dive is... And swap does not connect, and Honkono is the only one. They still have 2 more nukes available. And if they actually want to nuke down to the core, it does a lot of damage onto the core also. So Raven's got to be careful here.
They could try to take the top boss and then nuke the keep to secure a second keep. I think that's the more conservative option that they're maybe looking at here. They have the camp pushing bot as well, that stolen siege camp, and they're going to go straight up towards the boss. There's no vision control right now of this for Raven. If they come up to try to contest the boss, that siege camp is going to start hitting the core. They have to make a tough decision right now. Boss already begun here. They could even use a nuke to secure it and save the last nuke for the keep. Sniper dodges this phase when it seems like Miracle's starting to get a little bit more on point about this. We saw it's a few teleport dodges from Li Ming already.
Yeah, it's also a more open map where you can dodge a lot easier, so H82 is going to have a harder time catching his opponents. And he's been lucky very far. He's been on point with his mechanics, but this is a harder map to catch your opponents.
Definitely so.
And this with this boss pushing from top, they still have 2 warhead available. And look at the positioning from Raven. They even have scouting drone right there. And H82 is looking for that swab. Let's see if it actually connects.
They can stage dive in too. They can stage dive in. Honkono channels the nuke. It goes off here. Gonna weaken that keep wall. Here comes the stage dive. Void Prison here already. Sniper from behind. That's the first kill onto Li Ming though. It's a 1-for-1 as Hamlin goes down as well. Joju's caught. He's stunned. Does he have Ice Block? He does. He uses it to buy a little bit more time. All this while the boss is pushing though. Joju is dead now. And MVP Miracle wants to end this game right here, right now. Deyoung is going to be the next target. He goes down. A Gust here on H82. He gets the beautiful swap off defensively. He had to predict that in order for that to work. That is insane. He still dies, though. And so does the keep. And I think this will be game with 4 dead. A Warhead in Darvish's possession. He channels it here. The boss is going to help out as well. And we are going to a game 5, G-Clef.
Full series all over again. This is going to be... This has already been a long night, but I love this first Warhead Junction game going to MVP Miracle. It is 2-2 tied. Artanis did not work out so well for Raven this time, and Miracle really had the upper hand with their draft, especially with Falstad having that global. ETC really didn't use that global to